Welcome to ClubTest Debrief, where editors and writers put the latest gear through their paces and offer their insights on not only their testing experience, but standout products for 2024. And there is a lot coming from Callaway in 2024. And to break it all down for us, it'd be Tim Reilly. He's our head of digital programming at golf.com. Tim, what's up, man? How are you doing?
I'm doing great, Jay. Well, how are you?
I'm doing swell. All right, man. So you had the opportunity to go to the Ely Callaway Performance Center, and you were there to test the new Callaway Ai Smoke lineup. You're a golfer. What's your handicap right now?
It is a 9.4.
Okay, so you're a single-digit handicapper.
I like that. Just squeaking in there, but yeah. Digit.
What were you hoping to accomplish when you stepped foot on ECPC?
I think it's probably two things for me. I think the biggest thing is probably overall gapping in my clubs. I feel like that's always been an issue for me. Just hitting certain clubs will be a 3-club stretch, from that kind of 4 or 5 hybrid range that kind of blends together with very little difference. Like that's a big area of concern for me. And the other one is just I don't have a high swing speed. I'm a pretty moderate swing speed guy. I mean, Barath can attest to that. He was there with me. So getting any extra yards I can get is a good thing for me. Everyone wants distance and yards, so I'm certainly in that boat there where I'm trying to get as much as I can out of my golf swing. I am a slow, steady, smooth type of guy. I don't try to kill the ball. So whatever I can get out of my numbers in my swing, I try to get everything I can out of it.
So you ended up in a Callaway Ai Smoke driver.
Right away, it took 2 swings for me to notice the difference. And the difference I felt instantly was because I knew my first 2 swings were mishits. I was off the toe and off the top. Through the swing, I'm like, those weren't my smoothest hits. And as soon as I saw the ball flight and the data and the numbers, I was like, all right, that was a little different for me. Because I know when I hit a miss hit, it's like I lose some yardages or I go a little bit more snap hooky, whatever it may be. My ball flight was pretty much as good as what a good hit is for me. And that was probably the most surprising. So right away, I was like, well, that's interesting. Because I felt that first ball off the toe for me, which usually equals like a snap hook in my case, the way I come across. And I looked up and I was very surprised to see this kind of tight draw straight. So I was like, well, that's interesting. Next swing, knew I hit it off the top, and I was like, all right, that might be a little bit more of a fly ball. It really wasn't. It was still pretty smooth. Another little tight draw again, and then I saw the numbers, and I'm typically in that kind of like 240. I can probably get it up to like 250 if I hit it like really well. And I started seeing like 255, 260 like right away. And I was like, okay, that's a pretty big like jump for me. So that was like, it took literally all 2 swings. And then when I started getting the 3rd or 4th, I started flushing the ball and I saw those extra 10 yards come up from there. I was like, all right, this is like something I would instantly look to change out of my bag there, which I was surprised by. I frankly, like I said, I have last year's Paradym. I'm not the guy that rushes out to do those things, but the 2 miss hits and how much better the flush hits felt, it within 5 swings, I kind of knew I had like a winner right there.
Their AI, the AI meaning artificial intelligence, that they use a supercomputer that's constantly learning, and that computer is adjusting and modifying the face of their drivers and their irons and so many clubs now in Callaway's lineup.
Yeah.
And what I love to hear is what you said with that driver. You were using last year's Paradym.
Yep.
You put in Ai Smoke, and automatically you're starting to see more consistent numbers on those miss hits. And that's just simply the computer getting smarter and learning more from year to year. And that's where golfers are ultimately going to see the biggest, if you want to call them gains. Everybody wants to see gains in the distance department, but they're looking for those gains out of the center, which is not where the average golfer is hitting the ball. You're hitting it more on a regular basis off the heel or the toe. So to be able to tighten up those numbers off of those miss hit areas and get that delta closer to what you might have out of the center, that's ultimately, that's the name of the game here. And that's where you're right. From year to year, I would always tell golfers, you're not going to see big gains unless a company's making a base material change or something that is just completely new. But that's what makes Callaway's lineup so good, is that the computer keeps learning, and with those new learnings come more consistency and tighter dispersions. And that's what you saw.
What Callaway really focused on is using the AI to say, okay, this is where a lot of these golfers tend to miss using this product.
Yep.
Let's make those misses better. And obviously you experienced that in 2 swings.
Well, because that's the way I go into fitting. Like, I'm realistic with myself. I know I'm not a tour handicap. I'm not a scratch golfer. Like, I'm not going to flush the ball every swing. So I know that going in. So when I flush a couple of swings in a row, like I feel great. I am curious what those numbers are. Like I want to know, but what I really want to know is what do my miss hits do? Because like that is the area that I need like the most help with, is kind of like honing in on what I do incorrect and kind of getting those corrected as much as I can through the year of my swing, whatever it may be. So that's what I'm most curious about when I get a fitting, is just how can I correct what I do wrong? Because I know that's not going to change. I know I'm going to miss hit the ball. It's going to happen. I am not going to, it's not like, oh, I'm going to do it like once around. It's like, no, I'm going to do it a few times around. So how does this kind of gear adjust to like my faults and like my swing and my game? And that's kind of what I went to. And that's what surprised me most about it in those first two swings.
I want to switch gears from the driver and go straight into Paradym Ai Smoke in your fairway woods. This is an area of the bag. This is uncharted territory. A lot of them don't really want to fiddle with this area because they don't know what the hell they want to do. You know, it's like, well, let's go 3-wood, 5-wood, and find a rescue or something in here. Maybe I've used a 4-iron for my entire life. Why wouldn't I use a 4-iron? When I take a look at your setup, Tim, this is my feeling, man. I get this feeling looking at it where I don't really know if you were quite familiar with what you wanted to do with your setup, but you did make some tweaks. You've got the 3-wood, you've got the 5-wood, but you get into that hybrid, that 4 hybrid that eliminated your 4-iron. And I saw that 4-iron, man, I don't want to put you on the spot here, but you said it was your punch-out club.
Yeah.
Which that's just painful because that's an important spot in your bag.
It's a sad reality.
Yeah.
I think my most common setup for the last couple of years has been like a 4-iron has gotten to a point where like I have no confidence in it. So I go 5-iron. My 4-iron is if I'm trying to hit something like out of the trees, keep the ball low, just punch it out. And then I have 2 hybrids in my bag, but the issue with my hybrids is that they go such a similar distance where there really is no difference in them. I can't even explain why, but I have not had a 5-wood in my bag and I don't know how long.
And you're a guy that should, because if you're not a high swing speed guy, you need that extra launch. You should be playing something that's helping you get that ball in the air.
Which is something I've learned, going through the fitting here. But prior to that, I think when the hybrid kind of space exploded, I became like victim to it. Like, oh, I got to play hybrids. I need multiple hybrids. It's easy to hit. Like, this is great. I can hit it from multiple lies. Like, and it was easy to hit for me. So I've just kind of fallen into that realm. Like, why do I need a 5-wood? Why not just have 2 hybrids? So that's kind of what I've been kind of playing around with the last few years, just because I thought that was the logical decision for me, where I haven't been bothered to. I haven't even tried a 5-wood. Forget about having it in my bag. I haven't even tried to hit one. It's not like, oh, I've tested them out and it just wasn't for me. I just haven't even picked one up and tried it out to even find out if it was the right club for me.
It's always easier to make the ball come down than it is to make the ball go up because you're fighting gravity. So if you're looking to fill those gaps in your bag, if you have shot clubs that can go higher, it's always easier to make it go lower than it is trying to raise it up again. Especially because to raise it up, you need more speed. You need the ability to have extra loft on that golf club. And I think Callaway has really focused a big portion of like a lot of their innovation in this part of the bag. Like they've always had, and to their credit, they've done it for a long time. They've had the 11 woods. They've had the Divine 9 woods. They've had the 7 woods, the Heaven woods, all of those different golf clubs that were designed for a lot of golfers to fit into those categories. There really is no excuse to not have something that fits that gap. It really just comes down to the understanding how it works from a fitting perspective. And yeah, I remember when we were on our way to the fitting center that day, and I was like, how can you don't have 5 woods? Like, it's like the one club that I either mess with the most, or it's the one club that I will like leave in my bag the longest, because when you have it, it's such a versatile golf club, just from a loft perspective, a useful perspective. Now, a club you're going to pull a lot out of the bag a lot is going to be irons. And you saw that there was a big improvement, as we talked about being a shallow player. You actually saw a big improvement in your ability to hit the ball a little bit higher, although I don't think we necessarily gained a ton of spin on your iron shots. The ability to hit it higher and stop it faster is such a component of the ability to score. And we've talked about this over and over and over when it comes to ClubTest, when it comes to all of our editors going through the process of getting fit. Is there's one thing to gain distance, there's another thing to gain practical distance or useful distance. And for you gained height with your irons, and you gained some stopping power, because when you are a shallow player, so for anyone out there, you're someone who's not maybe a big divot taker, hit it lower on the club face more often, you have They have improved the technology on the lower part of all over the face with, again, utilizing face geometry, especially lower on the club face. So when you do miss it in that direction, you're still getting something that's going to carry.
Yeah, so my natural ball flight with the irons is relatively low. I don't have this kind of high, kind of soft landing area. I've noticed in the past with other game improvement irons I've tried where I'll gain those 10, 15 yards, but I'll just find myself just flying greens all the time. So it's like, all right, rather than being short, now I'm in the back rough. So it just becomes like, is that really worth it for me? And I didn't think it was. So it's something like these AI smokes I was trying out. The biggest difference I was seeing was that my kind of launch angle was much higher. I was landing much softer. The spin rates were up, and that was encouraging because I was seeing with clubs like my 5 and 6 iron, I was now holding greens. Like I had the ability to actually land and stay, which is very important for me. And especially with my low irons, like I think one of my strongest part of my irons is when I start hitting like that 8 iron, 9 iron pitching wedge and gap wedge. Like I'm really good from those numbers. And the fact that I was seeing increased spin rates there, and that I was seeing even better spin rates, the fact that I'd be able to hold greens even better with those clubs on top of it was also very encouraging. So I think that was the biggest difference I was seeing. I wasn't seeing these giant yardage gaps, but at the same time, the biggest benefit that I think I needed were those spin rates, because I just needed to like know where I'm going to land and that'll stay there if I hit the greens with those clubs. So for me, that was the most encouraging part rather than trying to chase. I need the distance elsewhere when it came to these clubs. Like I really just need to know that when I hit the green, I'll stay on the green.
You had a chance to try the drivers, the fairways, the irons, but
Yeah.
I want to know, what was the biggest equipment win for you leaving ECPC?
It's hard not to say the driver, to be honest, just because those first two swings just left such a lasting impression on me, like so fast. It's crazy to say 2 swings made a world of a difference, but it was just right away. Just knowing that the 2 mishits that I most commonly do with my driver were corrected that fast and seeing it instantaneously, that was the biggest takeaway. The other one, honestly, it was probably just the addition of a 5-wood. The fact that I haven't had a 5-wood in forever, felt comfortable, knew its purpose, and knowing that gapping was kind of taken care of, that 4 hybrid to a 5-wood to a 3-wood, just having that sorted out, just kind of put me at ease knowing that I had something for that biggest range, that 190, 220 range that I've had the hardest time with.
Yeah. I think being able to clean up that gray area for you is going to be huge in the long run. I am looking forward to seeing you out on a golf course and not having you pull a 4 iron and
just to punch
it
out
as a punch out club.
Yeah.
You're properly sorted. So I think everybody should be put on notice. Tim,
yeah.
Don't play him for money right now.
No, I'm shooting. I'm looking. We're in that 9-4. I think my goal is to. I think I want to get somewhere in that 6-7 range. So I'm hoping now having some clubs that also repurpose my bag will help me get there. So I feel good about it.
Yeah, as you should. All right, Tim. Thanks again, man. Thanks for walking us through your time at Callaway's Ely Callaway Performance Center with the new Paradym AI Smoke lineup.
Thanks, Joel.